Hey, welcome guys. So I wanted to give you a bit of an update as to where I am at in my course. So for those of you who haven't been following me for a while, um, just to let you know, I do write a little bit on digitalnomadphysician.com, and you can email me drmo@digitalnomadphysician.com. And really, this is one of the things I just started more recently. As a physician, I wanted to understand data science a little bit more and get into data analytics just because of all the data we collect in healthcare. And so I enrolled in this course through Coursera. And here's the course. I'm currently in, I think, the fifth section out of 8 total sections. And so there are 8 courses. I'm in the fourth one. And this fourth one is about analyzing data. So basically, I have been in this analysis part. We're going through different sample spreadsheets and sample data sets, and I'm kind of trying to figure out how to analyze it so I know what to do with that data, what things I can extract. And so here you can see it's getting a little bit more granular. It's actually getting quite a lot more interesting. So this is the course itself, analyze data. And here is what week 1 might look like, or what I already did. Here's what it says. You get a Google career certificate out of this. It's organizing data to begin analysis. Here are the learning objectives. There were a couple of videos, some reading. There's always some interactive things that you can do. Some of the things that I think I've been doing that are more interesting is going on things like BigQuery. So let me take you to that. This is where you can download a bunch of sample data and you can analyze it using SQL to search for certain things. So for example, some of the things that I've already downloaded, there was a CDC mortality table that I downloaded. I can search for that here, see if I can find it. Yep, there's a COVID one, there's a SDOH one that I was working with. So I can, let's say, click on one of these. I can get a preview of what is in here. So for example, these are the counties. These are some of the births and deaths within this county. And then I can query it. So I have learned to use statements like, as it is written here, a select statement from and where and order by. These are some of the basic things that I've learned to do. And so it might be, I'm going to select the entire data set from this table, or I might select a portion of a data set and in a particular column, and I'm going to order it by a certain thing. So it's really interesting being able to look through something and imagine these are millions of millions or thousands of pages long. And so you're not going to be able to look at it the way you might in a spreadsheet. So that's what's really interesting about this. Other things that I've learned is I can go to some spreadsheets that I have downloaded here, like sample spreadsheets. There's a bunch. Let me not pull it up because it's not that exciting, but I can look through like Google Sheets or an Excel, and then I can learn how to order things, how to change things, how to filter for certain things, how to arrange it, do data validation, do data formatting. So some of this stuff might sound a bit boring, but it is probably, for those of you who are interested in this is kind of what you're getting into. In week 3, for example, we did more aggregating of data. Week 4, it's about performing actual data calculations. So taking a bunch of different items together, doing some sort of a calculation, getting a certain result. And then you can always look through the course info, like what is this? This is course 5 of 8. And as far as the Google Analytics course itself, it'll take you through all the different courses that are there. You can see I did foundations, data everywhere. That was really easy. Ask questions to make data-driven decisions. That was good because it kind of made you start thinking about what are the kind of questions a business or an entity might ask about a certain amount of data. And then there's prepare data for exploration. So kind of that cleaning of the data, the processing of the data, which is kind of further cleaning of the data. And that was 4. So I'm the 5th one, which is analyzing data. So we're using a lot more of the SQL queries and learning how to manipulate data in a spreadsheet. The next one might be a little bit more with data visualization, right? Tableau. So I'm going to start using a platform called Tableau. In fact, it's been great because I got a pretty good in-depth learning experience using LinkedIn. You know, it's fascinating how much you learn with LinkedIn. This is my LinkedIn profile. And I've mentioned this to many of you guys who are interested in making your LinkedIn profile better. Really, I say mine's is pretty good. I'm very happy with it. It's when I say good, I mean like I have gotten the results that I wanted out of this one. So by all means, copy it. I'm not going to get into it, but this is my entire profile. And one thing that's been really great here is learning. And I've been really utilizing this. I've purchased a membership with LinkedIn, which I don't know how much it is, like $50 a month. But it's been great because I've learned so much. And I've taken some of these courses like Tableau. Tableau is a way for you to help visualize your data. And so I took a course like Tableau, and it kind of takes you through and like either really in depth or like a very cursory overview of what is Tableau. Because I took it. And just by taking this course, I have an insight as to what it is that I'm going to get into. And I think that's one of the interesting things about taking a course like this is that it opens and it broadens your horizon. So you start thinking about different things that are out there that you can learn. Let's see if I can. Here I am. Lost you for a second. So basically, I go take a course like this, and it's not so much that I'm going to finish this course and I'm going to learn so much from this course, and all of a sudden I have the certificate and I'm going to have all these opportunities. It's that it signals something to me like, hey, this is really interesting. What else could you learn? And you could learn this, and you might be more interested in this. And so kind of that's the direction I'm going. I'm not using this as like one path. It's more like a journey, and I'm going to see what I learn along the way. So I'm going to learn something about data visualization. Course 7 is going to be a lot more about data analysis using more of a computer language. So it's not so much just manipulating data in a spreadsheet. It's not manipulating data just using SQL. It's actually going into R Studio using R for the analysis. So learning a little bit more of that computer language. But that's not where I wanted to stop. I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to learn R, but there's other computer languages that might be worth having some sort of an insight into. And then the final one is the capstone, completing a case study. And I think this is the part where you finally complete everything and can get your certificate. So what else was interesting to me? I actually hopped on and pull up my email. So there's a 30-day of machine learning on Kaggle. If you're not familiar with Kaggle, I suggest looking it up on Wiki, and it should give you a pretty good insight into what Kaggle is. But it's basically a place where there's a lot of data and a lot of people who work with data. That's what I understand from it, and that's all I care to understand from it, about it right now. And so I enrolled in this course. It's free. And within the first 30 days, I should have a pretty good idea of how to work with data, how to work with manipulating data in order for me to get it ready for some sort of a machine learning process. I don't know much else about it, but I do know that I'm learning a lot about Python. So every day I get this email, and I'm currently on day 4. I'm actually 2 days behind, but this weekend I should catch up. And the reason I'm behind is because this was way harder than I thought. And I think I'm just trying to overlearn it. I don't think I need to do as good of a job as I think I'm trying to do. Anyway, I click on this, and that takes me to this website here. So I am currently on Kaggle. There are competitions, there's data sets that you can explore, there's code that you can learn from. But I am actually learning about booleans. No idea how to say it. Python has a type of variable called bool. And so it's telling me that with this Boolean variable, I can categorize things into true and false. It's teaching me this particular programming language. It's taking me into more detail. It's giving me examples here. Anyway, I scroll all the way down. These are all the things that I read. At the very end, I get to do some sort of a hands-on coding problem. So now I'm given an actual coding environment where I can create some code and I can practice and see how I did. And this is really interesting because this is something that you as a physician are not going to be able to do. And you as somebody who wants to learn data science are not going to be able to do unless you actually come on a platform like this and try it. So basically, this is free, which is incredible for me because I don't want to pay any more money for anything that I don't think I'm going to use. So I start by running this code, which they provided me with, which is going to help me set up and to do the rest of the code. And actually, I already did this. So anyway, this was actually wrong. And this is what I was learning. So I created this if statement. What I'm trying to do here is I'm trying to create a certain code that's going to tell the software to input something and then output something else. And in order to create that, I have to really be able to think in that software mode using if, else, conditional if-else statements, and then and/or statements. So that's what all of this is about. It's a sample practice and it's long. And once I finish this, I go to the next one, and then I get the next email and I go to the next one. And again, I think this is good for someone like myself, just to be able to go through these 30 days and get an idea of what it is, not try to perfect it or anything, but just try to get a sense. And whenever you have problems, you can actually go into the discussion forums and you can ask people for advice or see what things they did, what things they tried and how to get over it. In fact, there's a lot of getting started sorts of things here. So that's what I've been doing. This is my course. And I think it's more important to just get through it than try to master it. That is always, that was actually the issue with medical school too. If you're trying to master something, you're going to fail. Like just try to get through it and then you'll learn everything else that you need to as you go along. Just be open and discuss it with other friends. And in fact, it's really exciting because I have a friend who's doing this with me. He's taking this course with me at the same time. We're doing Kaggle together at the same time. And we're doing the Google course on Coursera at the same time. So we get to discuss it. For him, it's really easy. And I don't know if because he's an engineer already or, I don't know if that's the reason. But for me, it's definitely more difficult to get that sense of taking something that's written and trying to make sense of it. As far as what I'm trying to do with this, so a couple of things. Just to keep my mind kind of plastic and like think about all the different options that are out there. What I do, I constantly search for stuff like clinical data. I'll go on Upwork, I have a profile here, and I'll go on LinkedIn and I'll go on jobs and I do the same search there. And just to kind of see what kind of jobs are out there. So here is operations manager. Wow, what is this? It's pretty big. It's hilarious. Anyway, so justification of sample size for clinical trial protocol, administrative coordinator for growing mental health private practice, whole property landscaping design, looking for psychiatry. I think my computer's a little wonky because I'm recording at the same time. Marketing support vendor, clinical research statistician, experienced medical writer. So none of these is really coming up. It's not coming up with the stuff that I'm interested in. And it's probably because clinical data is maybe, I can say, clinical data analyst. So I search for that. I go on LinkedIn jobs and I'll type in there we go. Let's take a look and see what we come up with. Senior data analyst, senior data analyst, senior data analyst, senior data analyst, clinical data analyst, ambulatory, Martin Luther King Community Hospital. I'm actually familiar with that hospital. I used to work there. So responsible for data review, auditing, aggregation, analysis across various program service line trend data to identify potential opportunities, analyze data, summarize into quality indicator values, identify external benchmarks, develop tabular graphical presentations, develop comprehensive data dashboards, identify and quantify impact of existing prospective service on healthcare utilization, effective communication, education, bachelor degree, bachelor science, master's degree preferred in statistics, biostats, epidemiology, minimum 2 years experience with SQL, Stata, no idea what Stata is, I know what SAS is, Tableau, MS Office, ability to work independently. So why do I do this? Why do I look at this? I'm not going to apply for this job, obviously, but the reason I am looking at this is because, why is this photo there? The reason I'm looking at this is because it gives me an idea of the kind of jobs that are out there and the kind of experiences that I need to know, that I need to have to get jobs like this. Now, do I want to sit there and analyze clinical data in the ambulatory setting? Maybe not, but it might be a way for me to enter this space and then do something much more interesting with it. Or I might find a small healthcare startup here that might really interest me. So maybe I'll look over here. It says, going back to Upwork, looks like there's a biostatistician jobs. By the way, I can look outside of the US as well. Medical prior authorization, dental market research analyst, SAS with clinical background, justification of sample size for clinical trial, table 1 server stats pipeline, data preliminary work, building an interactive surgical patient pathway. It looks like the payment, the amount they pay you is fair, like somewhere around $25 to $50. It's not too bad. So that's what I'm doing. This is what I'm going to get into. I will tell you that some of the things I've come across a lot is medical coders. So I think one of the ways for me to combine some of this is to look at healthcare data and coding data and maybe learn something or do something with that, because it certainly seems like it's a lot more interesting and in much higher demand. So if this interests you guys, keep following me. You can always go to digitalnomadphysician.com. On my website, this is mostly for physicians, and I think most of the people who are really following me on here are physicians. The majority of the content that I create is for physicians and is really there to help you consider other ways for you to learn about data, data science, healthcare, alternative careers, what kind of skills you need to be able to advance your career. So if this helps, let me know. You can email me drmo@digitalnomadphysician.com or come on this website and you can go and email me on my profile. You can read a little bit about me, follow me on LinkedIn. And really try to get as much out of this as possible. Like, I'm doing this, and it might not be the right path, and I might decide on something different, or it might be great. It might be exactly what you're looking for. So do try to follow my lead as far as like exploration, but you're always going to find something that's more suitable to you. That's it, guys. Take care.